Welcome to the Off the Road podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Ross.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Richard.
And this is our podcast about anything and everything off-road, rally cars. We haven't talked about rally cars in a long time.
That's been a while.
Yeah. Camping, everything. So in the dirt, please. Just anything.
Mm-hmm. Just not pavement. As long as it's not pavement, we're good.
I mean, I'm not upset when I hit the pavement. It just like after you've been on the dirt a long time, that nice paved road, like there's benefit to it.
You're not wrong.
As always, we're still social distancing. We were doing it before it was mandated. I'm still in the Midwest. Ross is in the Northeast. Richard and Ashley are Canadian. So
yeah, we're in the Canadian Rockies in Calgary right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful places within what is considered like a reasonable drive.
From them?
Yeah.
Well, presumably all of us domestically, but
For us, it's an hour and a half into the mountain. Pretty deep.
And it's like an hour and a half to Banff, isn't it? Like,
is it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
So not just an hour and a half to the mountains, an hour and a half to the Rockstar National Park of everything.
Like number one.
Is pretty close by. We did live in Canmore, which was half an hour from Banff, and we were right in the Rockies, and that was one of my favorite places I've ever lived, honestly. Yeah.
How long did it take to hike up to that lodge that was closed? I saw that on Instagram today.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
So it was a 15-kilometer hike to the lodge, another kilometer to where we camped. So it was
that was
6 hours.
That's a good hike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the second day, we took the long way back and did 22K.
Oh, my God.
And then back to some lakes. And yeah, it was a bit.
I think the only hike I have similar distance was hiking up Long's Peak. I think that's because you said K, so if I got to go down, like my mileage.
10 miles.
I knew there was going to be math on tonight's podcast. I didn't know it was going to be this hard.
Some
this
kind
early.
of conversion. Yeah. So how many?
Split that up into 2 nights, but because they've reduced the number of people that are allowed to book at the campsites, there was like one campsite that was completely booked up. And so I just got creative and we hiked it in the opposite direction. And I'm like, we can do that far. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Nice.
It was long.
The last couple hours, that was a little rough.
Yeah, it was rough.
So how often do you go through a pair of hiking boots?
You hike on a pair are well past there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we've been using trail runners for hiking for a little while and they actually seem better. And I switched back into my hiking boots for this, and it was the biggest mistake I've ever made.
I feel like they get a pretty good year out of them, and then after that we should change them.
Yeah, we definitely overdo.
Yeah.
Okay. I just retired the pair of hiking. Given my hiking is absolutely not even in the same like universe as what you guys do, but I retired my pair of hiking boots that I got in 2009, and I'm very happy about that.
Nice.
They're terrible. Okay, so a year. So do you have any like range of roughly how many miles you think you hike a year?
I think it depends on the year.
Yeah.
Where we are.
I couldn't even put a number on.
No. And I would also say, I would argue that my hiking shoes I probably have had for like 3 years, not long.
So past their due date. Expiration date, not due date.
So I don't think we've introduced who you are to our listeners.
That's my fault. Sorry.
Richard and Ashley basically run a website called Dust to Glory. I don't really want to call it a blog. It's more than that.
Yeah.
Oh,
so we.
Great.
What are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't know how to figure that out.
Do we just tell our story?
We can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can summarize it.
We're all ears.
You start. You're the boss.
Oh, okay. So 2013, we were living in Vancouver, BC, and we decided to shake up our lives. And we hopped in a 1990 Toyota pickup and drove to Costa Rica. So our original plan was to go to Panama and back. And then I think we were somewhere in Mexico and we met all these travelers who were doing the Pan American Highway from Alaska to Argentina. And we drank the Kool-Aid, I guess, and we were like, go to South America. But we didn't plan that much. We only had like a 3 months or something before we decided to go. So everything was done very quickly, and we didn't really save money. So we ran out of funds in and around Costa Rica-ish. And so we found a government bonded warehouse in Costa Rica. And so we stored our truck there for a year and went back home and worked. Like, we went back to our desk jobs.
Yeah, and I was a mechanical engineering technologist, I worked for a mechanical consulting firm at the time, lived and worked downtown Vancouver. And then Ashley was a paralegal, law firm.
Okay.
So proper professional office jobs.
Prim and proper. Yep.
That was we thought that was the right thing to do. And we were right on track with our lives.
We were like, we went to like post-secondary, got some post-secondary education and start working really young, and bought an apartment. And then we were like, we're like in our early 20s still. And like the next step is to like have kids. And we're like, and then what?
Then you're stuck.
So
then you can't do what you did.
like, okay, let's like get wild. So anyways, but you can talk about the rest of the trip.
So we flew back home, and we rented out a 400 square foot apartment.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that makes Manhattan apartments look big.
Yeah. So it was like tiny little apartment that was the least expensive one we could find. That the landlord barely rented it to us.
We showed her that we had lived in a rooftop tent for 8 months, and she's like, okay, you'll be fine.
Yeah, like 400 square feet's huge compared to a 1990 Toyota and an RTT.
She's like, this is for one person. I'm like, nah, this is fine.
It was great.
Yeah, so then we flew down to Costa Rica and picked up our truck, and then shipped from Panama to Colombia, drove down the whole west coast of South America, down to Ushuaia, Argentina, and then back up to Buenos Aires, shipped from Buenos Aires to Jacksonville, did the eastern seaboard up to the Maritimes in Canada, there for
a
month or so, and then busted west back to BC.
Wow. So
straight across Canada.
Yeah. Did you do the Trans-Canadian Highway, or was this predominantly on dirt?
When we got to Canada, we were just like back on the pavement and trying to get home.
Except for the Trans-Labrador Highway.
Yeah.
I think that's what I was thinking
so that
of.
goes from Labrador to Quebec, all on dirt.
Okay.
Nice.
So forgive me in asking if this has been covered before, and I'm sure it has, but what was the breaking point? Like, what was your tipping point to say, you know what, we're going to like bail off of the, normal projection of life?
Yes, that's a great question. So we were both working in office jobs, but there was something in those jobs that was not fulfilling for us. I mean, we were really grateful to have our jobs, and we still really are, because that was what allowed us to go and travel. But there was something about the work that we were doing that we knew that like our heart wasn't in it, I guess. And so Richard had started up a wedding photography business on the side, and I had started to study nutrition on the side. And so we had these full-time jobs, and then we were doing our side hustles on weekends and evenings. And I just like got to a point where I had this realization that we weren't doing anything fun anymore.
Okay. So just like nonstop hustle.
Yeah. And we just like I had like nothing. I don't want to sound like dark, but there was like not really a lot to look forward to. And we just weren't like doing fun things, which I think is important. And we didn't even know like what we would do to have fun, which is also
right. Especially like early 20s, which is like the time.
Yeah.
So I think by this point we're mid to late 20s, because I'd worked at the point when we left or decided to leave. Late 20s.
Oh yeah, late 20s. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I mean,
got the numbers wrong.
No, it started off as early 20s, and then by the time we were late 20s, it was like, all right, breaking point. And Ashley sent a text message, and I was actually shooting an engagement session or something for a wedding, and she texted me, and she's like, it's time for a life change, or time for a life chat. And I was like, oh. And I was like, do you want a divorce? Like, no. And I was like, do you want to do it? No. So we met up at a coffee shop, and over like an hour, we kind of just changed our entire lives.
Yes.
So on a napkin, we started writing out, like, we're trying to figure out what to do. We decided we wanted to go traveling. We thought maybe backpacking because it'd be fairly inexpensive to go
To certain
to
places.
certain places. And then it turned pretty quickly into, well, we have this old Toyota pickup that's sitting
Already had the truck.
well, it was
Convenient.
so it was, my sister had used it. It was left in my dad's backyard, kind of left for dead. But I was like, I've seen some blogs. I don't even know how to come across them, but I've seen people drive 4Runners down to South America. How about let's do that? Let's go to Panama and back, and we can just chill out on the beach in Mexico and figure out what we're doing with our lives.
And the
That's
weirdest
fantastic.
thing was that, well, not the weirdest thing, but one of the strangest things was Richard purchased this set of tires from this off-road shop because they were a really, really good deal, like 6 months before we even decided to go. And they didn't fit the truck that we currently had, and there was no reason to purchase these tires
But they were such a
whatsoever.
good deal, I couldn't say no.
It's like serendipitous without actual like functional purpose.
Exactly.
And we ended up using those tires
Just got us to South America.
all the way down.
Wow.
Which is
What kind of what tires were they?
They're Pro Comp extreme mud trains.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a little
was
noisier
like-
than you were probably needed.
Yeah, I was gonna say like what, 75 pounds a tire? Like,
So, but they were.
we only got one flat the whole way down too.
Yeah, and that was just
holy shit.
a bolt.
Yeah, it
slammed
was
into
like
it.
a huge.
Oh yeah, you
like-
can't avoid that. I think you're the only people we've had on the show that have run Pro Comp tires, except myself.
Nice. Yeah, so they were great. They were $100 a piece when I bought them.
That's fantastic.
You got your money's worth,
Yes.
So
and out of the truck.
ran a few different types of tires on that truck,
Yeah.
and onto another type pretty soon.
But the other weird thing, sorry, this is like going down a rabbit hole too, but I think I don't want to like underestimate how difficult that decision was. It wasn't like I woke up and I'm like, I've had enough of everything. I'm leaving. Because we were
Right.
both very, like, this is what you do in life. And we're both like the eldest child. And we've always been like very kind of like that, follow the rules
100%.
and do this thing.
Keep our parents happy.
Yeah. And so,
Right.
The eldest is rarely a risk taker.
right. And so this light bulb that went off in my head was actually really, really, really difficult for me and kind of emotionally trying, realizing I have to change everything. And so
Right.
was having a lot of difficulty with it, but I knew it was the right thing to do. So
Okay.
it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, I under no circumstances can I speak or vouch for you, but it sounds like the thing that's not easy to say, but easy to describe the process of making the decision, but has some kind of weight to it that is like months and years and like endless cycles of thought contributing to how you actually get to the point where you're like, you know what,
Mhm.
it's time.
Yeah.
So
Most definitely. Yep.
Yeah.
I think
Well, same with
we're
them.
all the oldest then.
yeah. Well,
If Ross is, I am. You guys both are. It's like
Yeah, there we go.
yeah.
like my risk was starting a podcast. Like that's not.
It's like you don't do anything risky until you're like kind of an adult, and then you start to compensate for it because you're like, I got to make up for lost time.
100%.
But the
You dumb
cool
shit.
thing was that risk that we took has made all these risks in our lives that we've taken since seem so easy.
Mhm.
But it
Like-
put a different perspective on everything.
Yeah, we find it very
See that.
easy to like pick up and move and try something new. Like we moved from west coast of Canada to the Rockies, which we'd never been to before.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, we want to do this, so we're gonna do it. So yeah. Once you take that first leap, I guess it gets easier.
Yeah.
Snowball
and,
effect.
And you don't have the anchors.
Right.
But,
I have 4 anchors. So it's we've
for
discussed
living anchors.
Yeah, 4 living anchors, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus 2 dogs and a parrot. But the kids are like the trips that we take are not nearly as long or not nearly as far, but it's the kind of trip that I feel like I'm helping them lower the barriers that if they do decide to do something like what you guys did early on, they're gonna be like, all right, well, I already did part of this when I was a kid, so
Yes.
taking that next leap. So maybe, and for me, it's something for me and my wife to look at, like once they all get older and we can stash them somewhere for a bit, and then maybe we go and do it without them.
Yeah, I think just getting out, period. Like, it doesn't
Whatever it
matter
is.
where you're going. It's like a hike, or if it's 100 kilometers from where you live.
If you
You're
can get to a spot where there's
What
no
is the
cell
100?
coverage,
Yeah.
You're winning.
Yeah.
100 kilometers is 60. Yeah, no, actually 60. Yeah. That's about where my college town is from here, and that is the line between cell service and no cell service. So,
yeah,
I get it.
I like it a lot. So, you guys' first trip was Canada to Costa Rica. Then the second part of that was all the way. How far did you guys get all the way down?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the
I'm gonna-
U word.
Ushuaia. Yeah.
Ushuaia. Yeah, that whole trip was, I'll go in miles, was around 40,000 miles.
40.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
What was the time? How long did that take roughly, start to finish?
18 months total?
That's a lot of miles.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Yeah, we
you are-
definitely didn't take the straight.
How do you spell that? I'm a
It's
Google Maps addict.
USHUAIA.
Okay.
I beat you to it.
People said it could be something like 10,000 miles,
Yes.
Mm.
but we took the zigzag road.
Because there was a sign at the end of the road there that said to Alaska.
Yeah.
And it gave a number, and we're like, whoa, that's not what we did.
Third of what we did.
Yeah.
No, you're that's the bottom of the world almost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay. Google Maps can be deceiving, but that is the coolest looking building and backdrop I've ever seen. I don't know. If you just search the name of the town and pull it up on Google Maps, like it looks, I don't know. You guys have been there. You can vouch for if that's real or not. I'm sitting here on my computer looking at, things from the internet, but
Ushuaia.
It's kind of it almost looks like a pyramid or a four-sided pyramid kind of slanting up. Looks like a town center type thing.
yeah. Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
So, oh God, we could talk about this forever. So
Yes, that's the idea.
what portion of if you had to guesstimate, what is the percentage of road that was paved versus unpaved when you got down towards like the middle section of South America?
Oh, man.
So- Getting down to Tierra del Fuego, down in Patagonia, the farthest south, it was a lot of dirt.
Yeah, it was a lot of dirt.
Okay.
I would say almost all dirt, but I don't know how far. I think it was, I feel like there were days of it.
Yep.
Really? That's
a different way to measure it. Like
that is a different way.
And we did a lot, like from Carretera Austral on the western Chile.
Yeah.
We kind of went down that. That's all dirt. It's probably getting paved right now because they were getting ready
They
to
were
pave
paving it while we were there.
Really?
Yeah.
And then
It's also hard because it was like sections of paved, sections of dirt, sections of paved, sections of dirt.
Did you air down for the dirt, or did you just go for it?
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it was like 100 miles of washboard,
oh god.
Really?
just garbage.
Mhm.
And then
I
sometimes,
can feel it in my stomach.
but then also there were days where we did 2 or 3 days in low range in a row. So
Whoa.
where we were, but
That didn't happen that often.
definitely
though.
not very often. And
It's amazing.
you could do the whole trip could totally be done in like a 2-wheel drive Sprinter van. It has been done before.
Yep.
But I think I like the fact that our truck had tons of ground clearance, first of all, but also it could take a beating because there were times when just like the washboard and potholes were just like too much. And at some point it's like, okay, let's just hammer down and get out of this. Even if
Right.
the thing to smooth them out, it got us through it faster. For sure.
Fair enough.
That's intense.
A little bit.
We did drive on a lot of pavement, though.
100%. And you could probably get around most of the dirt we did.
In some sections, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
There was one section I don't think you could. One big section.
No.
Or a few big sections, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys came down through Chile
Mhm.
and then cut across to kind of get to the town in Argentina.
Yep.
And then went back up Argentina.
Correct.
Yes, up to
Okay.
Buenos Aires.
And that was all paved, straight north, flat, wind blowing directly at us, like foot to the floor in fifth gear, doing 80 kilometers an hour.
Oof.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Is it super, super windy? Like just naturally that windy as you get further to the, like,
Patagonia was very windy.
really? Just inherently so? That's wild.
And I guess motorcyclists have a hard time down there.
They like lean over like 30 degrees or something just to keep up with the wind, right? I've read a bunch of
That's
stories
nuts.
like that. Yeah.
Fortunately, we only had to sleep in a ground tent a couple times down there.
Yeah.
Which was great because we had heard it's very windy, which it is. But
Sounds like here. It's wind farms everywhere. So
hmm
Nice.
I just driving out and back to Colorado, something that makes me chuckle and terrifies my wife is every RV we pass has the same kind of slant. Like it's, and even the smaller ones that are based on like sprinters and transit, you're kind of like, oh guys, like, go ahead and zip past you here real quick.
We are unfamiliar with that in the Northeast. We get 30-mile-per-hour winds. It's the end of the world.
That's Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's so far down there.
I know. I keep looking at the map going, wait, but so you zoom in and then and it's all
Yeah, it's far.
Once you go down, it makes the world feel very small. Once we did that,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really? It makes it feel smaller? Like,
I think it's just the fact that we could drive that distance.
okay.
We're like,
like, no, it's doable. No,
So like
it's something
other
you can
than the
just
ferry from
we
like
small
Costa
enough.
Rica,
It didn't have to take a year.
like,
Didn't have to.
but it's more fun if it does.
Yeah.
definitely.
So you said you only really prepped for like 3 months before you left the first time to get to Costa Rica?
3 or 4.
3 or 4. I think maybe 4 months.
Okay. What did you do during that time? Did you read?
Yeah, I was gonna
bunch?
say,
like
was it
reference points?
was it like language and cultural, or was it like vehicle and survival?
Could have been language.
Yeah, we started immediately with Spanish.
We didn't know any Spanish when we crossed the border into Mexico.
Any? Like 0?
0.
Wow.
That seems.
That was our only regret.
I don't
French?
know. My French
We
is
know a
horrible.
little bit of French, but
Doesn't
would
help.
not have done
Doesn't help.
So really, it was just making a checklist of all the
Mhm.
things we need to do and checking them off.
Yep.
And that took 4 months.
I guess the vehicle you spent a lot of time on, and then we also had to move all of our belongings out of our apartment.
Find a property management company, find a renter, and
Mhm.
Deal with-
cancel all our bills.
Health insurance.
Oh God.
What else? I don't know. I think
Was there any difficulty with not having a physical address for a year? Like,
It's weird because like the systems aren't set up for us.
correct.
Bowman said the same exact thing. He was like, they just like when you get mailed government stuff, like where does it go if you don't have a physical address? You just get a PO box and hope for the best.
Yeah, and we sent everything to Ashley's parents' place and changed our address to that because
Mhm.
it happened to be where all of our stuff was stored at the same time.
yes, we were very
That works.
fortunate.
That works.
So my mom would like take pictures of our mail and email it to us and be
Yeah.
like, "What do you want us to do?" Which is like, yeah, I was very grateful for that. But I've heard that there are mail services that you can use,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
pay a fee and then they will,
Open it, scan it, send it to you, and deal with
which
it.
is nice. So that could be an option.
Yeah.
But yeah, those systems aren't set up for people to step outside of the box, which
Even
is kind of funny.
having a conversation with the insurance companies or the registry here in Alberta, and I'm like, "This is what I'm doing," and they're like, "But where's your house?" I'm like, "We don't have one, really. We don't have a permanent address here." They're like, "Well, you need to." I'm like, "But I don't. I'm not going to have one." So just trying to deal with that, and same thing with healthcare.
Mhm.
So the government knows where we are.
They're all tied together.
Yes.
So-
yeah, you do something a little bit out there and it's like, what? And everybody's like, what do you want to do?
For how long?
Crazy.
All be figured out.
So after that first trip to Costa Rica, what did you guys take away? Like, what did you reassess and reevaluate for the next leg down?
Oh my gosh, we learned so much. I think one of the first things we learned was that there are cold parts of Mexico, and we like did not pack proper outerwear.
Like overnight cold or like daytime cold?
Oh
No, like night, like
Where?
freezing, like up in the middle of.
Yeah, I live Mexico City's at like 8,000 feet, Ross. Like,
Okay,
Yeah.
true. Okay, that's
I brought
fair.
a hoodie and some jeans.
And Guatemala as well. We did a hike up there, and it was very cold. And we're like, we need to get some proper outerwear for Patagonia because this is the city. So there was that, and we also learned the value of money.
And how far it can go.
Yes, because we knew every day how much we were spending, and we knew how much money we needed to kind of save for the next leg because we had that experience.
What's an average day on the road cost?
$75.
Really?
The Canadian?
That was okay. The dollar was on par when we did it. So
That's including like gas and all everything.
So that's
Yes.
gas, accommodation, insurance. That included everything except shipping costs.
Okay, that's not bad. Also, pardon my ignorance. I'm looking at a map of Mexico now, and I suck. Let's pretend I never said that about it being cold in places.
The only
Moving
reason
on.
I know that is because the local soccer team played down there last year, and they played at 8,000 feet, and it was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry. It was the Chiefs. It was the football team, the American football team. They played the Chargers in Mexico City, and there was like oxygen everywhere because
Oh,
all these giant men.
They
are
sit
having
down
to
on the
play-
bench.
Yeah, and they would just strap it on. So
We knew none of the geography until we drove through it.
yeah, we had no idea there was this middle Mexico strip of colonial towns that are beautiful, often overlooked by tourists.
And probably my
And-
favorite places in Mexico.
100% worth it.
Whereabouts in Mexico is this?
Town called Guanajuato.
Or Oaxaca, that one's
There's a World Rally
A.
Championship race in Guanajuato, I believe.
really,
Yeah. San Miguel de Allende is another popular one.
Okay.
Oaxaca, which is like OAX.
ACA.
Yeah, that strip is
Huh.
pretty cool.
Interesting.
what?
Yeah.
Did-
Kind of like almost like, again, given I'm analyzing all of this from my table and chair and not from being there, but seems forgotten when people talk about off-roading and overlanding and like places to go and visit. And, you know, there's so much of the geology world that's like Yucatan Peninsula, blah, blah, blah. And it's,
I think one of these towns is where they did the last.
Yeah.
And now I'm totally blanking on me. Gymkhana or
Guanajuato is
oh, yeah.
yeah, okay.
hmm
I knew I definitely had seen that name before.
The last Ford-powered Gymkhana.
yeah. So those tunnels that they were driving through, we walked through them every day when we were camping outside of town and walked through them to a coffee shop and get into town. They're like we called them
Oh,
Smog,
no
smog tunnels.
smog
yeah.
tunnels.
smog tunnels? Oh, no.
Pretty bad.
Really? But how was the coffee?
It was
Delicious.
amazing.
Was it? Really?
You could smell it for
You can smell it all the way down the tunnel with the exhaust.
yeah. They were roasting and
Take the good with the bad.
the
Yeah.
beans. So
Say that far down into Mexico, you're close enough to main Central America where all the amazing coffee comes from.
Exactly.
Our podcast is run on coffee, so
Yes.
It is.
as late as
Without
it
coffee,
gets.
there would be no podcast.
It's fair.
And it's a silly question, but like, what is the item you couldn't live without?
I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna say passport.
I mean, yeah.
Oh,
that's,
no.
That's a solid answer.
Richard always says his visa,
Or
and
my-
people
or
get
my
so
credit card.
mad. He's like, my passport and my visa, and everybody's
Without
like,
that, you're
You're
done.
doomed.
yeah.
Yeah, if you can't cross any borders.
Okay, so then opposite question. What did you use nonstop that you expected to use not at all?
Hmm.
Like, I know I've gone on some trips and been like, oh, I'll put this shovel here. And then next thing you know, like it's you break it out every, 45 minutes.
I didn't bring a hairdryer, and then I was like, what are you doing, Ashley? And so I bought a travel. You're not
Fair
gonna go
enough.
to bed with like wet hair. That's a dumb example, but
It's
um,
fair.
No, I mean that, especially when it's cold, it's a quick way to have some problems.
Yeah,
What do we
we're
use
not
all the
roughing it
time?
to that extreme.
The
What do we use all
fridge.
the time?
I think the fridge we used
Yeah,
like all the time.
and that was an accident. So when we, like the first set of suspension we put on the truck was Old Man Emu,
Mhm.
and I got a price from ARB for the Old Man Emu suspension and an awning and a fridge, and I got a quote, and I said yes, I'll take everything except for the fridge. And we'd never had one before, never used one, and it just felt too expensive when I got the price. But when we went down to go pick up all of our items from ARB, the fridge was on the pallet all wrapped up, and I said, man, maybe we'll just take it.
Oh
And
man, I'm so glad it was.
it changed everything.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, because
Yeah.
you never have to hunt for ice then, right? Like,
Yeah.
And there wouldn't have been any ice.
No. Well, there would have been, but no, not really.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, Mexican water quality is something that you're not supposed to trust anyway. So like,
And
you're
a lot
not eating the ice, but like having it in there next
Just
to the
keep
things you're
shit cold.
consuming.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
now it's the thing that I would put that in my vehicle before doing any other modifications,
Mhm.
because we just use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Little Red is what we call the truck, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did it have a winch, or did you just have traction boards?
Yeah, we had a couple traction boards, no winch, no front, like we just had a factory front bumper on it, and
Mhm.
so for recovery we just had toe strap and some shackles and tracks.
Open diffs or locked rear?
And
Factory.
air at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. Gearing at the time. That whole truck. So I got it essentially for free because it was such garbage.
Free vehicle is the best vehicle.
Yeah. So but frame was solid and still is, and there wasn't too much rust on it, surprisingly. But the windshield had cracked, and water has just been pooling up, creating a petri dish of mold in the interior. So that had to be replaced. Every single vital engine sensor had failed at like years ago. So the engine was pretty wrecked, just leaking out of everywhere and burning lots of blue and black and everything.
Everything. Just burning everything.
So we did, so I put a new long block in it and new interior and Old Man Emu suspension and the sweet Pro comps that we got for cheap.
Mhm.
Then I found a cheap canopy, built a rack around the canopy out of Unistrut,
Okay.
Mhm.
and then put a CVT rooftop tent on it, the cheapest one they made, and threw the fridge in the back. And I think all in, I had maybe like $7 or $8 grand into the truck.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Is CVT? I feel like CVT is local to you, like local to when
They're
you were in Vancouver.
They're
Yeah.
in Bend.
They're in Bend, yeah.
Okay. All right. So they're pretty close. So were you running dual batteries for the fridge, or was it
Yeah,
just
so I had a couple
Oh, it's
Optima
solar too.
yellow tops.
yellow?
And a
Okay.
85 watts of solar.
Oh, solar's an amazing addition. That's the coolest.
I would not, I wouldn't be able to run a truck long term without solar, because, with 85 watts, which is pretty small, and a small Optima battery,
Mhm.
We were able to run the fridge indefinitely on the beaches of Mexico, which is all that
Nice.
matters.
It's
Mhm.
amazing.
And then
That's
all
like-
our stuff was in Tupperware containers in the back.
It was so poorly organized, and we had such the largest, heaviest gear because we didn't know any better.
And Richard built a very basic platform in the back, which then got scrapped in Ecuador, and he built like a big drawer system that came out, which was amazing. I don't know how he lived out of that thing. I see pictures now and I'm like, how do we do that?
So
I don't
dumb.
know.
It's the engineer in him.
Yeah, and we just had I built the truck in 4 weekends left. So it got slammed together pretty fast, and we never spent a night in that rooftop tent before we left.
Oh boy. No dry run, just going for it.
We did nothing. And
Yeah.
somehow we made it to South America. So
Yeah.
you too can.
So where was your first night? Because you get left from Vancouver.
We actually left from Kelowna, which is like in the central kind of interior part of British Columbia.
Okay.
A big wine area country there where my parents live. And that was my hometown. So we ended up leaving from there. And the first night on the road, we camped in Osuyas, which is a couple hours south of that, kind of
Okay.
close to the border with. Is that Washington? That's Washington.
It's Washington back
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember the towns. The Okanagan area.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was very windy, and we were wondering what we got ourselves into.
Oh God, yeah. First night jitters. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And this one's might be weird. Did you have to worry about the different wildlife that you guys traveled through? Because I mean, like Pacific Northwest bears, but Central America monkeys. Like,
So we kind of screamed through the U.S. in
3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks because it was going to be one of the most expensive countries on the whole trip.
Mhm.
And
that adds up.
the budget. And so
Yeah, checks out. Duh.
passed
Yeah.
through there, so we didn't have to worry about that. And it was also October, I believe.
Yeah.
So you wanted to get south as quickly as possible.
So it was getting cold. I don't know. We didn't really like. I feel like we worry about wildlife more
Here,
than
Mhm.
for some reason.
there are a lot of bears.
Yeah, that
Makes
was
sense.
one of my show notes. Is recently we just at the Kansas Department of Wildlife was like, we have bears now. And we're like, we don't have a lot of trees. How do we have bears?
Because there's nobody to keep them scared out into the woods. Everybody's home. So
Well-
they have made their way further and further towards you.
And southern Missouri and northern Arkansas have actually very large black bear populations, which I've done some reading to find this out. And they are starting to travel more and more out of those populations. So southeast Kansas and southwest Kansas are starting to see more and more bears. And I was like, well, I've traveled through some of those regions. I should maybe start thinking about how to deal with black bears here.
Yeah.
Normally, I only worry about them in Colorado. Like,
Run into a bear on the trail on the quad. It scared the shit out of me. Not literally into, but like within like a Tacoma's length of bear.
Close.
Yeah.
Close enough to just
one of my social media memories came back up the other day, and it was from being out in Estes Park, Colorado, and one of my sons was taking a nap, and I can vividly remember I was watching an episode of Top where they were in New Zealand, and he was driving the rental car, and the other guy was on the crazy boats that they have now for America's Cup. And I heard a noise behind me, and I turned around from the table, and I just had the screen door was the door was open, but the screen door was closed, and so it was just the screen door there with no lock on it. I turned around, I looked out the screen door, and there were two bears on the porch.
Oh, I saw that.
Fairly good sized bears drinking the sugar water out of the hummingbird feeder.
Oh,
So
delicious.
first move was to slowly close the cabin door and then take as many pictures as possible once I realized that.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, the best was then the property manager guy who drove up in his truck and just yelled at him, and they ran off. So, and then we took down the hummingbird feeder.
Like you said before, that's just a Tuesday for them.
Yeah, it's just different. But yeah, I'm not ready for them to be here though. Like normally our issue is deer and coyotes. Like that's not
Same.
Yeah, we used to live up in Canmore. It used to be elk and black bears.
Mm-hmm.
So they would just walk past the front door. Like 40
Mhm.
of them. The elk. Yeah.
Is it?
Cool.
Do you find yourself like doing a door check like before you go out the door? Like is it, or you just wander out still? Like it's just a regular human interaction. You just keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Black bears are pretty decent. They stay to themselves, and they don't want to be around us most of the time. We've only run into one on the trail. Some mama with her little cub, and she stood up on her hind legs, got a good
Mhm.
smell, I guess, of us, and then laid back down on the grass and did not get off the trail. So
Ah.
we were just like
Yeah.
waiting her out, or kind of making noise, and eventually just had to like smash our way around and just.
That was on
Mm.
Vancouver Island, and I think they're quite used to people there. So
Probably.
yeah.
It's like they're not going to hurt me. I'm just going to do what I'm doing.
Yep.
Bears.
We'd probably do the same thing if we were bears. Just saying.
More recently, you guys went up north.
Yeah.
It's not down south. It's the opposite.
Like further up north. You're already up north. Like
And it's not close.
It is really far.
So yeah, we drove up.
It's really far.
So yeah, before COVID shut everything down by a couple weeks, I guess we left. So it was maybe in March.
Okay.
March, late February.
Early March, yeah.
And yeah, we drove up. So it was winter.
Yeah, it's still winter up there.
Yeah, and we drove up for Expedition Overland and
Okay.
filmed a 5-part series of our trip from Bozeman, Montana, where they live. We picked up their vehicle and drove up to Tuktoyaktuk, which is as far north as you can drive. And it sounds hilarious. It's
Yes.
fun.
Mhm.
It just
Fun to
sounds
say.
like the
Definitely
video
fun to say.
again.
Tuktoyaktuk, and it's in the province, or I guess the territory, the Northwest Territories is the territory name. It would
Yeah.
like state.
Sweet.
Yeah. It was cold.
It was cold.
That's my way. It
It was beautiful though.
was amazing.
So
When
said-
you were,
No, you
Chris.
go, Ross.
nope, you.
When you picked up their vehicle, was it still a rooftop tent?
So they have a
Kind of.
AT Overland habitat on it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it is, camper.
Which, the habitat is the one that folds out over the front end.
Mhm.
It's actually over the
Back.
back. So like,
Okay, went the other way.
yeah, so it folds out 180 degrees, and the part that cantilevers over the back is the bed,
Okay.
and it's where we sleep. And then the bed of the truck is stand-up camper area.
Mhm.
And
Was
it had
the tent insulated?
it wasn't, but we had a Webasto diesel heater.
Okay.
Nice.
And I think it put out about 13,000 BTUs. So it
Holy shit, really?
Yeah.
So when it was, and I'll do it in Fahrenheit here, when it was 30 Fahrenheit,
Okay.
it was probably, it could keep it around 45, 50 inside the tent.
Oh, totally livable.
Amazing.
Especially with a good like 30-degree, 20-degree bag.
Yeah, we had a minus 40 bag. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're probably a little okay.
You guys were- was that
Mm-hmm.
minus 40 Celsius or minus 40 Fahrenheit? Doesn't matter. It's the same.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
We had an
um,
electric blanket too.
Yeah.
Or electric heating pad or something, which helped warm up
oh,
the.
clutch.
Mhm.
Is that so? Would that be under the bed or on top of the bedding?
It was,
It would be underneath.
yeah.
Okay. So it was
Yeah.
like an insulating layer between you and the air below. Okay. I like it.
We had something similar when we went to South America as well. So when we went to Bolivia, it was really cold,
Mhm.
and we put that underneath to warm the down up. Then we get inside, and then we had almost this like rug. I guess it was a rug on
Yep.
top to like sandwich,
It was like
and
a
it was good.
roll rug. Yeah.
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 It's like
So
a heavier material fabric.
Yeah. And yeah, I got cold up in the Altiplano. It was
I bet.
16,000 feet of elevation. So
Yeah,
That's up there.
it was up in the Canadian Arctic, but
it's
still
chilly.
cool. But
So did you guys? You obviously weren't up there to hike. Was it just to kind of drive around and?
Yeah. So, and this is, so I've wanted to go up there before, like, in the past, but it was last year. We were sitting around a nice warm fire with Clay and Rochelle from Expedition Overland, and they're like, "What should we do next year?" And we were still planning we have a big trip in our red truck planned for ourselves.
we did.
Um,
Anyway, yeah.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
"How about a month that we can go do a trip for you guys, and how about we go up to Tuktoyaktuk in the winter, because very few people are going to want to do it in the winter, and
And it's become kind of a popular
destination.
route that people
Mhm.
go on in the summertime. And so we're like, why don't we see what it's like in the winter?
Show another season.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so, and the plan was that we would get up there, up to Tuktoyaktuk and get up to Inuvik and spend some time in the little towns and at least like learn about the culture and eat the food and talk to people and just be in the
Be
north.
there. Yeah.
Mhm.
But we got there and almost immediately everything got shut down due to COVID.
Oh no!
I was just about to ask that. So how did it like play out, I guess is the right phrase for it. So you were there, you didn't have residents, like how do you react?
So we were in Inuvik, which is about 180 kilometers, 120 miles from Tuktoyaktuk. And we thought like we were that close and we knew COVID was serious at that point. And we just So
in Canada.
In Canada.
In Canada, yeah.
But we were so close. We just wanted to get up to the Arctic Ocean and back. And we knew it wasn't fair to them to try to interact with anyone.
Right. Having been where you were.
Yeah. Because we didn't know. We were pretty much by ourselves for the last month, so we weren't too worried about it. But yeah, we didn't want to take the risk. So. And
the communities up there are quite vulnerable. Like Tuktoyaktuk, the like closest hospital it's in Nunavik, so it's quite far away. So obviously, yeah, it's not worth it to, and I don't think anybody would have like seen us anyway. So
yeah, so we went up to the Arctic Circle, went back to Arctic Ocean, and back down to Inuvik. So we had a friend of a friend who was letting us stay with him at the time, waiting for the roads to open south, which is a whole other story. But we were able to like with him, and because we essentially quarantined with him for 2 weeks. And we went snowmobiling and dog sledding.
Drove on the ice roads, and the guy that we were staying with, he was actually from Uruguay, and we met him through overlander friends of ours that met him on the road. So he did the Pan-American Highway as well.
That's amazing.
He did it in stages. So it took him like
10 years,
8 or 10 years. He would just work and then go back down, and then work and then go back down, and hop, skip, and jump through it. So. That was
okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you've seen both extremes of the Western Hemisphere, like as far north and as far south as you can go without doing like Antarctica.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I wish when we were down there we could have gone to Antarctica, but it was quite expensive.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
One day.
I worked with a guy who I was in a past life a middle school science teacher, and one of my colleagues. Ended up on a study to study the ice in Antarctica.
With the tubes? Like were they pulling samples?
No, I don't think he was doing more sonar profiling underneath the ice through like autonomous robot, kind of like torpedo looking things. But he flew from Kansas and ended up in New Zealand, because New Zealand's the other jumping off point to get to Antarctica, because weirdly when you're that far down, that's where it gets close.
I've heard that.
Yeah. He also got mugged in Wellington, I think.
Oh, no.
That sounds like a great
he almost
indie
got
movie.
mugged. Like
mugged
he was
in Wellington.
Somebody was like, "Give me your money," and he just like walked away, and that was it. Like that's the story. So did you really get mugged? Like
attempted muggery, but no mugging.
It was the most New Zealand story ever. It was like the nicest
This almost sounds Canadian.
Or you had that experience.
Oh man.
Anyway, so
that's funny.
You guys have gone way down cold in the south. You've been cold up north. You've been hot too. You chased Baja.
Yeah, that was fun. That's another experience where I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into.
Well, and that one's got more pressure because a manufacturer showed up too, right? And was like, take a truck.
And that was also the project that got me out of my engineering job and into kind of working in a creative field for the first time. So we had come back home, and I was working at working for a mechanical contractor at the time. Back to my old tricks. And I realized after about 6 months that I left for a reason.
And I think it's hard too, because when you get back, you're like really messed up mentally, and you don't really know what to do, and you've got really bad culture shock, but you need to pay debt down if you have debt to pay down after a trip like that.
Money because
there's like a cadence to the road then. Like there's a pattern of being, and I'm sure for you guys at a certain point, like you probably don't even need to talk about setting up camp. You just do it. Like,
oh yeah.
Right.
You're literally living on the road.
Yeah.
It's not like a holiday, or it's not that's your life now, and it becomes normal. And so when you come back home, it can be very, very challenging.
Yeah. And it's also a little overwhelming, because even though we could speak Spanish a lot better by the time we were done, when we were in grocery stores or coffee shops, I didn't really understand what people were saying, whether it's like the hum of all the chatter and everything. But when I went home, I definitely could.
So
And it
you're
was
like
just
hearing everything all the time.
all of everybody's troubles that they're having with life and work, and just like all in
Yes.
right in the brain.
I
So
think it's
down south, was it almost like white noise?
100%.
yeah.
And then when you came back, you were like, oh my gosh, I can hear it all. Like like people were hard to put in hearing aids for the first time, and it's like sensory overload.
Exactly.
I think it's quite common after traveling as well, because you've seen people that don't have very much.
Mhm.
And I want to say like they don't have like a house with,
The tangibles, yeah, it's different. Yeah.
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 And then you come back and like one of the
Richard
has a good example.
So I was working for a mechanical contractor that really just focused on high-end homes. And so I'm talking about 16, 20,000 square feet.
Holy
for
crap.
like single family residences. And I was dealing with a client whose towel warmer wasn't warming his towels fast enough. And I was like,
It's the most first world problem I've ever heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And that was the catalyst for me wanting to make a change.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, like I don't want to do this anymore. What else can I do? And, I'd been shooting a lot of photos and working with a videographer who was also looking for some work. And I had a buddy who I'd never actually met, Dave Connors. We've been chatting a lot on social media because he had done a Pan America trip a decade ago, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And so he was following us, and he raced in Baja when he got back. That was his big change. When he came back after traveling the Pan American Highway, he came back and he's like, I want to race Baja. And he made it happen. And he's been doing it ever since. But he kept on inviting me. He said, whenever you want to come down, always looking for help with the truck, help with chasing, whatever. And I kind of just put it in the back of my mind for a while. But then he asked again. And then my buddy who was looking for film work was kind of still looking for film work. And I wanted to get out of my job. So we had just made a contact at Toyota Canada through another project because of this big trip. And I thought, well, if I can convince them to make a commercial based on chasing the Baja 1000 in one of their trucks, then I'll quit my job. So I put together a proposal.
It's the if clause. If, then.
Exactly.
It's spreadsheeting.
Yeah.
Professional spreadsheeting.
All this stuff riding on like one decision from them, and over about 2 or 3 months kind of sorted out a contract with them and quit my job. And that was about it. Flew to Toronto, picked up a truck, and because of course the only one they had available was in Toronto and not in Vancouver, so we drove all the way diagonally across the country down to Baja, meeting our friends in Utah along the way, and then chased the Baja 1000. Yeah, it was pretty fun. There's a 12-minute documentary / commercial we filmed about that.
Oh, I definitely watched all of that one.
Yeah.
Baja's on my list. I've never been down there. It's very high on my list.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Also, yes. What year was this?
That 2017, 2016, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember now.
It's recent enough that I remember it. So
yeah. That was also the thing where it bought me enough time, like 3 months, I think. It bought me where I was like, okay, when I get back, I can start pushing for more creative work. But if I don't, I'll go back to I always have my fallback engineering stuff I can go back to. But
The casual engineering career. Yeah.
I've somehow been able to find projects since then. So it's been good.
So the truck that you guys drove was a Tacoma?
Yes.
Okay. And then the Arctic trip, was that a Tundra?
Arctic trip was a Tacoma.
Yeah. That
Was it a Tacoma? Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere in my head, I have you guys in a bigger truck.
Oh, we have a Tundra.
We also have a Tundra.
Okay.
It's
That
on
fills in the gap.
Yeah, it's in Montana, and we can't get it back yet until the border opens.
Oh my! So you can't import vehicles right now?
We can't go into the United States.
Ew.
They can't go and we can't go. There's
Gotcha.
no go.
Border's still closed. Fair enough.
No go.
Yeah.
So you want to buy a Tundra?
I recently just bought a new to me used Sequoia, so I have 4 kids. The Tundra wouldn't work for me.
Yeah. Once upon a time, I bought a 4Runner in Canada and imported it into New York. So
Oh, cool.
I did the opposite, but that's long gone, sadly.
The sun is.
I wonder where that truck ended up. Like, I know where it was supposed to end up, but I wonder where it really did end up.
The best part of that, Ash, is like we're both in the dark. Like it's dark here.
It's been dark here for 2 hours.
I know, but it's funny. There's still tons of daylight.
Wild thing too. Like it's 8 p.m. here. It'll be light for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
Did you have any crazy, like, time zone changes that, like, you know, you fly over, you know, to Europe or whatever and you have jet lag? Was there anywhere where you crossed time zone and it, like, drastically changed anything? Just like an hour here or there?
Like in the same
Yeah, we're just north and south a
area.
lot.
Yeah. You didn't go, like, back and forth east-west too far and, like, lose 2 hours?
I think if anything, it's only 1 or 2 hour because like Mexico City's the central time zone. So like depending
Right.
on
Yep.
it's yeah.
I think the furthest east would have been Mexico,
I don't know what the farthest.
like on the way down.
Mhm.
Obviously, like Eastern Seaboard on the way up, but no,
Backpacking trips,
definitely,
flying,
yeah.
yes. But
To be honest, like it looks like Buenos Aires and wherever you, in the Maritimes and Canada would have been the farthest east.
yeah, max 3 hours here and there.
Hmm.
Ross, you're almost like dead north of where Tierra del Fuego is.
Just go ahead and south.
Yeah, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just don't go to Florida right now.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God. I love Florida, but it's like the last place I have any desire to go right now.
I spent 3 years there after college.
Yep.
Got a job there. My in-laws live there, and I will only go to visit them. I have no desire to stay in that state at all, ever. It's
Yeah, you
so
don't need to
hot.
go there right now.
It's
hot.
really hot.
When
Yeah.
we were there, so our truck was delayed in the shipping process
Oh
or
yeah.
customs
Mhm.
or something. So we were there 3 weeks before we needed to be, and all we did was go from the cheapest hotel known to man
In Jacksonville?
in Jacksonville.
Okay.
It was called the Value Place Motel or Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Long-term stay motel, and we just went from there to the mall. I think wherever there was air conditioning.
Right, yeah.
Ugh.
Yep.
Did you
Isn't that the joke, though? Like, Chris, you know, the joke about Florida in the summer is you don't go outside. You just go from air conditioning to air conditioning.
Did you assume the Florida summer uniform of shorts and then long
Has
sleeves?
Chris frozen?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
This happens like once a week, and he'll come back in about 45 seconds and go, "Oh, I heard everything you guys said."
It was only 7 seconds, and I heard everything you guys said. The best is when I get to edit this, I just leave it in because it records everything. Like, did you hear my Florida uniform for the heat?
No, we were shitting on Florida, but we didn't hear the uniform.
So the Florida summer uniform is shorts for your legs, but then you wear like a long sleeve T-shirt because as soon as you're outside, you immediately sweat, and then you go into the blast of AC, and that like almost freezes on your arms, and so you need the long sleeves in the store to not. I hate that.
Bad
place.
idea.
Gotta rock that.
So it's not shocking to me that you had any issues shipping into Jacksonville.
Yeah, seriously.
Like the worst shipping experience we had
Yep.
of the trip.
From
be
Panama to
honest.
Colombia was fine.
And the farther north you go in Florida is the further south you get. So that's also how it gets worse.
Oh yeah, the yeehaw increases.
The more north you go is the farthest in Florida. Closer you get to Georgia.
Yeah, you could have walked out of that Jacksonville port though with like an R34, Skyline branded as an Ultima.
Would have been a smart move.
But they don't.
Canada, we can have one.
Oh shit!
They're 15-year.
Oh, I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight. It's okay.
So you just have to wait till COVID's over and you can move to Canada, Ross.
I can't. I literally can't. I'm looking at buying a house. Like, I literally can't.
Buy a house on wheels. Can't drive a house. You can live in a car.
Gonna opt out of the rest of this
They're
conversation.
proof of it.
Goodbye. Oh, man.
So Baja, covering Baja somehow turns into covering Rebelle.
How did Rebelle Rally even happen? I don't know. So I showed up. I don't remember how or why I showed up 3 years ago, halfway through. But
Just there, like conveniently in the area.
yeah,
Did you email?
I must have had a conversation with Emily Miller at some point.
Okay.
Or Kirsten, and tried to, somehow I ended up down there. But we've been back ever since. Just super cool. Ashley's first time was last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she was helping with social media and photo sorting.
Yeah, I was doing the photo sorting.
Yeah, and I mostly go down there and hang out with my buddy Harry Wagner. He is Harry Situations on Instagram. But
Yep.
It's a solid Instagram tag.
It really is.
Yeah. So yeah. The Rebelle is about hanging out with Harry and shooting an awesome event and spending 7 days with a bunch of friends.
I feel like it's the kind of thing when you go to photograph it, like you can't mess it up. Like the scenery's amazing, the trucks are amazing. Like you're just there.
The women are great. They're in their element.
They're so the vibe is like I've never experienced that in my life. Like I would go be waiting in line up to use the shower or something, and like somebody I don't know at all, which it was basically everybody there. Last year for me, they would just be like, "Hey, how's your day going?" And I'm like, "You've been in a vehicle for like 8 hours doing goodness knows what." Like
being very stressed at some points.
Seriously.
Stressful, intense day, and you're asking like a stranger how I'm doing and how my day was, and then that's normal.
Like that's about normal from what I've heard.
Yeah, I think my favorite thing about it is that you're in this bubble of the Rebelle for 7 or 8 days, and nothing that's like the women in the event don't have their phones, so they don't know anything about what's going on in the outside world. We barely do because we're focusing on on shooting the event, and it's just fun just to focus on one thing nonstop all week long.
Yeah, those events are awesome to be a part of.
It sounds like it.
I can only compare it to, I worked a couple summers at a summer camp in Colorado, and this was pre-cell phone, and literally there were no TVs, there was no computer, like the only computer was in the office, and we weren't allowed in there. So, like, I just lived the whole summer, and then like we'd get down off the mountain and be like, so what happened in the last 3 months? Like, just
right.
North Korea was an issue. Like there was a World Cup that happened. I didn't even know it happened. The worst.
I felt like that was what our trip was like at some points, because we didn't get SIM cards or anything. We would just like do Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, and we just had no idea what was going on, and it was really nice.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
just worried about ourselves, and if we had a DeLorme InReach with text messaging, two-way messaging.
You are not the first person to say good things about it.
Yeah, and it was great because we just give updates to our parents every once in a while, and if they have updates to give us, which are usually things, my mom sent me a couple emergency things that were not emergencies.
Just mom things, you know.
With the InReach, don't they also have the ability to see your location? Like they can just check in on you.
Yeah. So there were plenty of times when they checked our location and they're just like, "Why are you guys camping in this weird location behind a truck stop? Are you okay? Have you been robbed?" And we're like, "No.
Are you okay?"
Yes, it's a truck stop, and yes, we're okay.
So, is this one of those examples of like an overland campsite? Like I think I've heard you guys discuss these before.
No.
No.
Strictly a truck stop.
Legitimately a truck stop.
Yeah. There are overland campsites all along the Pan American Highway. They're so awesome. There's like showers and toilets to varying degrees, usually Wi-Fi.
Have those popped up more recently, or is that like they've always been there? We just never have known about them.
They used to just be gas stations.
I was reading a book what is it called? Like Strangers for Angels, and it covers this couple's trip through Africa and India and Turkey, and this was in the 70s, and there were overlander camps in Pakistan, Afghanistan, India, all that whole area. So they've been around, some of them, for a long time.
Nice.
Yeah, they're sweet.
That's amazing. It's like there's a whole subset and sub-world of the overlanding world from what we see and what we're used to seeing on the, the civilian, quote-unquote, side of things.
Yeah. There are a lot of people out there from all over the world traveling.
And so few of them have Instagram accounts or social media accounts at all. So, like, there's no way we know about them. So we meet them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would be surprised how many people are out there.
Random question. Have you met Dan Grech?
Yep.
He's also Canadian, right?
He is.
Yes.
Okay.
He's Australian, but he lives in Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought he was just Canadian. Well,
see, he's not 23. He couldn't be who you were hanging out with. Dan's way older than that.
Fair enough.
No offense, Dan.
He is. We do hope to get him on the show at some point, so hopefully we're not offending him in any way.
Apologies, Dan. Apologies. He's not going to listen to this.
No. Not even a chance in the world. But
I know what our numbers are. We're not that big.
Oh, that's funny.
Gonna grow 4 or 5 more people with our parents and siblings.
Yep.
Right.
Deal.
Deal. Yeah, we'll take it happily.
So, you only spent very limited time in the U.S. on the way down the first time. Grand Canyon, basically, I'm assuming,
Not even.
No.
Not even?
Really?
Just straight down the coast?
What spots did you hit? Just like West Coast, straight down to Baja?
Highway 1, 101.
Yosemite for a sec.
Yeah, and
okay.
We were in San Francisco, and that was when your national parks and everything was closed down back in 2013. And
last time we had a government shutdown.
Exactly. So we were actually looking at the Golden Gate Bridge when we overheard somebody say that they were opening up Yosemite. So we packed up the truck and left and got to Yosemite, and nobody was there. And we spent 1 or 2 nights there with just a handful of other people camping.
Mm-hmm.
It was
I mean, you might have it sounds terrible, but you might have lucked out.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it's an amazing place, and being there with so few people, it's pretty cool.
It was really cool.
And then we just went south from there.
Yeah, we didn't cover too much. We've been fortunate since we've been home to have gone through Utah and part of Arizona, which we have really enjoyed.
Yeah,
and then being on the Rebelle actually is they
nice.
go through quite a few areas that are really beautiful. So
I hiked Grand Canyon last year.
Oh yeah. We like the desert a lot.
Yes. Desert or mountains.
And the mountains.
There's an appeal in the desert, which I'm still not sure how to quantify it. But the ability to be in a location and an environment that was ready to kill you at any moment.
That sounds like the North.
Yeah, but it's
it's a little bit, but it's still gorgeous and awesome the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like Death Valley today. I saw a post. It was 129 degrees Fahrenheit. It was 59 Celsius. But I don't know that the Celsius was measuring correctly, because even the National Park Service was like, you know what, the sensors don't do great out here. So it might have been higher than 59.
Jeez. When it gets this hot, the sensors just don't want to work. They're too warm.
That's pretty much what they said.
That's insane.
I'm here. That's all you have to say.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm assuming we have a question here on asking your ultimate advice. I think I know it already. I'll let you guys. I think it is just to go and do it. That's what I think your advice would be.
Yep.
For sure.
Checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to go and do it, you can. And as long as you're willing to be patient and adapt to very, very weird situations that you are not used to, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I always tell people is don't use your North American mind to try to figure out
Ooh.
a Central America
Problem.
thing or a South America thing or an India thing or you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
I like that. That's really good.
because it doesn't run the same way. And I think people can get really frustrated if they try to do that. So just gotta let it go.
Right. And that also carries with it like the don't think only of your own, your own knowledge, your own like mindset, kind of think outside of yourself connotation. I like that. That's good.
Incredibly important. I think that's one of the main reasons why we travel. And some of our favorite countries are the ones that are nothing like Canada.
100%. The farther, the more different the country is, the better.
Like we backpacked through Japan. It was the first place we went together internationally. And it started this whole travel addiction for us because it's so different from Canada. And yet we were obviously very different than everyone else there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Japan is also on my list.
Yeah, same. The ever-growing list.
To me, Japan is the closest, and this is going to sound horrible, but it's the closest to being like on a different planet. Like it is so extremely different from living in the Midwest of the United States. And I'm 6'4", so like I've been told that I'm a giant there. Like,
yes, I felt like we were, and we're like 5. I'm like 5'3". 5'8". I don't know, but yeah. But their cultural practices are really interesting, and their like dedication to craft and detail is probably unparalleled.
Yeah.
When all of our COVID quarantine started, James May on Amazon had
Oh my God,
Man in Japan.
So good.
And I can't even remember how many episodes it was, but I watched it on like repeat for like 2 weeks just because I wasn't here when I was watching it.
The timing was perfect.
Yeah.
Lockdown release. Like, can't plan that.
And the Grand Tour will just never come back out. So
it will. They said it will.
Yeah. Okay. I'm less than positive on that. So that's all we have, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great to talk to you guys.
Yeah, we could talk about this for ages.
You're welcome to come back on and tell more stories anytime you want.
When your next trip actually gets able to go, come back and talk again.
Thank you. We will.
We can talk before. We can talk from the road.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. From the road would be amazing.
If you can find a spot where you're both hiding in a rooftop tent, that would be hilarious.
Oh my. That'd be so good.
Have you upgraded from the CVT the first time?
Yes.
So we have a Go Fast camper on it right now.
Nice.
Yeah. So
I was just messaging with those guys today.
Who are you talking to?
Well, I've emailed Taylor before.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a response from him.
He's busy. He's managing every single sale.
Is
Oh
he?
my God.
And a podcast.
Oh, I've listened to You Really Out There too.
I saw that. that.
So who runs the Insta?
Graham.
Okay, so I was messaging with Graham and said and basically invited Graham to come talk because I think they're getting ready to release a new model
Monday.
Yeah, that's
Monday. So by the time this is released, it'll be in the past, which means
it will have released. I will drop a picture in right here with hopefully their permission.
But I've seen some renders.
They look amazing.
I saw Bronco renders today.
Yes. More Bronco.
I only saw one today.
Only saw one today?
Wrong.
One picture of the Bronco or one GFC?
One Bronco. Actually, is that true?
I feel like
I
people
think
aren't
I
on
only
social
saw it
media
once.
if that's the case.
Yeah.
So I saw someone say like kind of their reference was kind of like, well, what do we do now kind of thing. And somebody referenced the scene in The Hangover after everyone's kind of like waking up the next day, trying to figure out like what went on for the last 2 days. Cause it literally was just Bronco. Everything was Bronco. Like,
well, I texted you the other day and I was like, dude, I'm so out of it. And you're just like, you have a Bronco hangover. And it's like, I don't think that's a thing, but you're not totally wrong.
That's what it is.
I just had major regrets I had a '73 Bronco.
Oh
And,
man.
Very much regret selling it.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Yeah, I know. I'm quietly perusing Craigslist trying to find one that's like totally beat to shit, so I can just buy it and then clean it and flip it.
Well, and that's kind of what I did with mine, and I thought I did really well at the time. So this is like 17 years ago.
Mm.
I bought it for $1,000 and sold it for $7,000.
Whoa!
And I'm like, yeah, winning. Now it's worth 30.
Still,
Or more.
you did okay. No, like given the circumstances, you did okay.
Yeah, it's true. Okay.
Actually,
So,
Well, before we go on to the Bronco tangent and spiral of
yeah, we'll spiral for
forever.
I have to watch kids, actually. That's what my muting earlier was. So they're outside in the dark. I got to go find them.
Oh, boy.
Richard and
You
Ashley.
need the glow things that you put on the dogs.
leash.
No, thank you. Then everyone can find them.
Just kidding about the leash.
Leashes we've used in the past when they were younger, but not anymore.
Do they call them leashes?
No, they call them like my monkey backpack friend, and the tail is the leash. But
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry.
it's like the monkey's just giving them a hug all the time. But then it looks really weird because then you're pulling on the monkey's tail to like get him to. It's just yeah.
Okay.
When it goes wrong, it goes way wrong with those.
Where like what part is where it goes right?
No, there isn't any.
Okay, yeah. So, anyways, moving on.
Generally, we just use strollers. Stroller
A
CCs.
lot less terrible.
I only have one in the stroller now. So, anyway, Richard and Ashley, you can follow them at Dust to Glory, and then Ash, yours is separate, right?
Yeah. Mine's at dusk to glory _ash.
That's right. I thought I found it today.
Oh yeah. I was gonna follow you.
Yeah, you don't have to. It's okay. And then you guys both. There's a Facebook page for Dust to Glory.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
And a website.
There's no Twitter, right?
Dustglory.com.
And then there's a YouTube channel.
There is.
It's a neglected YouTube channel.
It still exists.
We have grand plans for it, but
and about 3 videos underway, but
Cool.
have been delayed due to COVID.
yeah.
But yeah, so the one we're doing right now is just suspension install on the truck, and
Sweet.
Always fun. OME.
it is Total Chaos Long Travel.
Ooh. Oh shit. Okay.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Yeah.
Yeah, Ross will watch
I was
that
gonna
video.
subscribe anyways. I have it open on my phone, but my phone's doing the recording.
Yeah, that was all through meeting Nicole Patel from Total Chaos at the Rebelle Rally.
Sweet.
Oh wow.
I spent 2 days in 2 of their trucks, and not now. I have a bunch of long travel.
Very cool.
That'll help the washboard.
Yeah,
Yes.
it'll help all the things.
Just
Exactly.
yeah, I love all things.
You can follow what we write at the Hooniverse on Twitter, the Real Hooniverse on Instagram. Ross also likes to post things to Everyday Driver. He's got a very nice Bronco article on Everyday Driver.
Thank you. I'm proud. I wrote it in about 6 hours. Proud of that one.
Well, and it wasn't I would say the teaser to it is it's not about the actual Bronco. It's about how we got to the release of the Bronco.
It almost has nothing to do with Bronco, which
More
is
about-
why it was enjoyable to write, because we're also just watched. Like it's just there's nothing else to say about Bronco relating directly to like its specs or whatever.
So much information at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there was nothing breaking there. I wrote a societal commentary piece, which was fun.
That's that unique angle.
Yeah, it took some approval to get. I didn't. Yeah, I had to get the okay for that one instead of just throwing shit out there.
That's why we're writers and not editors.
That's why it went on Everyday Driver and not Hooniverse. Because if it was Hooniverse, I would have just written it and said, "Hey Jeff, look,
Guess what I did?
guess what I did."
Yeah, exactly. You can follow us. I'm at Overlanding Dad on Twitter and Instagram. Ross is
No, not like the one from Friends. That's my sad face. I hate it.
But it's so easy to tag you. I only have to
It
get
really
to the
is.
NON, and the rest of it just fills in. So
Yep, it fills the rest of your screen, so you're good.
thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Yes, thank you. Please let us know when you're back on the road, and we would love to have you on again.
One day we will be. Next year.
We'll get past it.